Hey guys, Level Cap here. There's a brand new map on the Battlefield 1 CTE called Brusilov Keep from the new In the Name of the Tzar DLC. Obviously the DLC is not out yet, but if you want to test out this brand new map, you can. In addition to the map, most of the 11 new weapons are in the game. You can test them out, but just like the map, the weapons themselves are not yet finished. This is a very unpolished version of the In the Name of the Tzar DLC. A lot of the guns don't have their reload animations in yet, and there's some other kind of quirky aspects to them. That being said, it's a great way to get an early look at what's in store for this DLC, and one of the highlights from it so far is this new Parabellum machine gun, the MG14. It's got a very high rate of fire, 100 round magazine, spindle magazine. I love the look of the gun. I like that the bullets are just literally on a chain or a band that wraps around this wheel on the side. It's got a cool reload animation, and it shoots so fast it just tears people up. It's got a hell of a lot of recoil, so trying to shoot it while standing at medium or far range isn't very effective. Close quarters, it tears people up standing, and if you want to start taking people out at further ranges, you want to drop down and take advantage of the bipod. But I was really enjoying this machine gun overall. I think it was the most effective weapon that I used from the new DLC. Now, the intention of the developers was to launch the Conquest version of this map to try it out on the most popular Battlefield game mode. Unfortunately, there were some bugs with it. It kept crashing everybody's computer, and so the devs pulled the Conquest version and put the Rush version in there. I don't think the Rush version is totally complete, but it is still a good way to check out the map. It is a beautiful looking map. There's a lot of areas of it that are still very rough, certain windows you can't jump out of on buildings, and other buildings are so dark on the inside that you literally can't see anything. It's just pitch black, and so you're kind of just looking for red highlights or red tags on enemies. So it needs a little bit of work here and there, but it is a really pretty looking map. It's got some foggy game modes where you can't see very far in front of you, and then these sort of bright sky game modes that just look absolutely stunning. A train track runs the length of this map, and I think it's pretty easy to imagine what an operations version of this game might look like, although with 64 players it could get absolutely nuts. We were playing Rush with only 12 players per side, and the action was pretty intense given that small player count. So doing a 64 player operations, I can only imagine, is going to be pretty nuts. Hopefully they'll expand the width of the map. I imagine they'll have to. There's also some nice sort of open areas of the map where it's just snowy and trees, and you might have to use some longer range weapons, and then it gets much closer in some city areas. Weapon wise, we have some pretty darn exciting new additions. The Assault gets this cool little stubby machine gun called the Maxim SMG. It's fun to use, though I don't know how effective it is. It's a very slow rate of fire, and it's got something like 81 rounds per mag, so it's got a lot of ammo capacity, but slow rate of fire. So the damage per second isn't great, something that the Assault class might not be used to, but you can definitely kind of chug through people. It reminds me a little bit of the M60 from like other Battlefield games in terms of the rate of fire and the feeling of the weapon, but definitely a much slower killer. It's got this crazy looking box mag on the side of it. The whole weapon just looks like a giant hunk of metal. I like it. I think it's a cool addition to the game, and it adds a good bit of variety to the Assault class, because you're thinking like, oh no, here we go, another Hellriegel or Hellriegel defensive type weapon. No, it's a slow firing gun with a lot of ammo, but you can keep it on target. The recoil's not bad at all. So if you're a good shot, it might be a nice little headshotting machine with enough ammo to take on as many enemy as you desire. Is it going to dethrone the Automatico? Absolutely not. The DPS in close quarters is nowhere near strong enough to make it a viable contender, but it does add variety to the game. Then of course the other weapon that the Assault class gets is the double-barreled shotgun. The long double-barreled shotgun as opposed to the sawed-off one that the pilots already get. This is going to be a cool weapon, I think. Right now it's buggy though, and I don't know if it's the weapon that's buggy or just something about the netcode in CTE right now that's buggy, but I've got a ton of clips of me shooting people directly on with this weapon and getting 0 hit markers whatsoever. So after playing a few rounds of just not getting kills when I should have been getting kills, or at least hits, I had to kind of call it quits with this weapon, and I'll definitely revisit it once DICE has fixed whatever's going on in the CTE. You can also switch this weapon over to the slug variant as well. I have a feeling playing this gun with slugs is going to be very difficult. I'm curious to see what the actual slug properties are, if they increase the range, the one-shot kill range of slugs on this weapon, since only getting 2 slug shots gives you a pretty limited weapon. It could be very interesting depending on what DICE decides to do with the stats all around. Now the medic's actually getting 2 interesting guns. It's actually getting the General Liu rifle, which I think is the first Chinese weapon in this game. I actually like it so far. I want to play with it a little bit more, but it's got a decent rate of fire and decent damage. I think it's sort of going to be an in-between between the auto-loading factory and maybe the M1906. So if you like those 2 weapons or the way that they play, you might enjoy this one. And it even has an extra round, 6 shots instead of just 5. And then of course we also do have the Fedorov Automat, which is another fully automatic medic weapon. If you haven't seen it from before, there was a lot of footage on it when some of the first In the Name of the Tzar first came out. It's fully automatic. It's got a decent magazine. Reminds me a lot of an assault rifle. Probably the closest thing you're going to get to an assault rifle in Battlefield 1. Now, when it comes to the scout class, we actually have an interesting new rifle called the Viterli, which has a closer sweet spot range than the Martini Henry. And it's actually not a single loading rifle, so it can shoot faster than the Martini Henry. And you might be thinking, well, why would anybody use the Martini Henry after this weapon comes out? Well, I think the sweet spot range on this is actually narrower, so you have to be a bit more specific with it. And in addition to that, it doesn't do the maximum damage that the Martini Henry does, which is like 120. So it gives you a bit more fall off with the Martini Henry, and also limb shots are okay with the Martini Henry within a specific distance, whereas you're not going to get the one-shot kill if you hit a limb shot even in the sweet spot range with this weapon. So I think DICE has probably balanced this one well. I'm not crazy about the optics on it. The irons really suck. I hope DICE kind of reworks the iron sights a little bit. And then the cross optics on it have a little bit too much scope wobble for my liking. It just kind of annoys me when you aim down sight, you have a little bit more wobble. That might be a byproduct of it still being in the CTE. We'll have to wait and see. Then we also have the Mosin Nagant M91, which is a favorite Russian sniper rifle, and I think people are really happy that there's a Mosin in the game now. This one, as far as I can tell, has the exact same damage drop-off as the Russian 1895 rifle. It, however, does not come with the higher magnification scope. We only have an iron sight version and then a marksman version, which I think is a 4 times magnification. So you're not going to get any scope glint with this weapon, but you're also not going to have further magnification. There might be a few other differences with this weapon in comparison to that one. Obviously, one's a lever action, the other one's a bolt action. I'll have to wait and see until the Simthic stats come out with the exact properties of this weapon before I really understand how it differs that much from what's already out there. And while we're on it, we've got the new Nagant revolver, which is a 7-shot revolver. It's a 3-shot kill as far as I can tell, and it's a fun little sidearm. It's, of course, got a very long reload. Now, just to clarify, these weapons that I've shown you here are not all of the 11 weapons. This is only 8 of the DLC weapons that are coming out. There's another machine gun and a few other cool weapons kicking about here and there, plus melee weapons in addition to that. So there's going to be a decent amount of content in this DLC. I think the weapons so far have shown off a decent amount of variety. Again, here we're coming back to that Parabellum, which does have a 700 round per minute rate of fire, which I think is going to make it one of the highest damaging machine guns in the game, and certainly one of the more enjoyable ones that I've found so far. I think it's definitely going to be a fan favorite. I'm excited so far with the new content that we've seen. The CTE version of the game is very rough, very buggy. Many of the reload animations, as I said before, are not complete. It can be kind of annoying, and there's something off with the hit registration, as I showed with the shotgun earlier. That was also happening with other weapons like revolvers and whatnot. So it could just be a universal thing going on with the netcode. I think DICE is trying out a few different things. It also felt like the grenade throw animation was even a little bit slower, but maybe that they didn't sync it up properly yet. But I was getting a lot of grenade throws where I'd throw it at a target and then turn, and then my grenade would actually throw where I turn to, because I'm so used to the grenade throw time in the game already. So I think they slowed it down a little. They're probably messing with some other stuff as well. Anyway, despite the bugs and some of the balance issues, especially with Rush, which isn't my favorite game mode, I think we've got some promising looking maps and definitely promising looking weapons coming in this next DLC. I can't wait to see it with a bit more polish on it and for the official release. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.